everybody, it's Mrs. Jones. I'm here with a great test prep lesson in reading, and I like to call this lesson Evaluation Stations. And here is our learning target for today. I can evaluate my response based on the parts of the prompt. So basically what I'm trying to do here is get kids to be more independent when it comes to answering open response kinds of questions, and really be able to self-evaluate on assessments like our big high stakes assessment at the end of the year, which for us is coming up. So this lesson is using a text that I found online, and this is from the NAEP website. The NAEP is the National Assessment of Educational Progress, and if you go to that site and type in sample questions, you can go there and not only get the texts that were used on the NAEP, but you can also get questions and, most importantly, student exemplars. So you can find out what scored a 4, 3, 2, and 1. So, excuse me, that's where this lesson comes from. So this was the article, Unwrapping the Past. It's about mummies. It's just 2 pages long. And the one thing, when you do print the questions, you can't get them. The font is really, really tiny, and you can't get them all on one page. So what I did is I picked 2 of the questions that had lots of exemplars. I have my learning target here at the top. I can evaluate my response using the parts of the prompt. Here are my 2 open response questions. And here's a very simple success criteria. And one of the things that we've been working on, I've been working on this year, and my team is working on, is to clearly delineate for our students what's a 2, which means you're close, you're almost there, and what's a 3. So really that's what we focus on. Sometimes we get to a level 4, but we don't always have exemplars for level 4, and there isn't always a level 4 possibility when it comes to the question. So I've got my success criteria for a 2 and a 3. TTQA comes from the book Better Answers. Sorry about the focus. Although, turn this way. There we go. Sorry, I just ate some crackers. So my mouth is really dry here. So TTQA stands for Turn the Question Around. That comes from the book Better Answers. And it's an acronym that the kids are familiar with, Turn the Question Around. So that's kind of the bare minimum of what you should be doing in an open response question. And then we have a 3. What makes a 3 response? And we have the same thing over here, something similar over here for the second question. And then there's a place for a personal self-evaluation, a place for them to go look at the exemplar, and then their peer review. So this is how the lesson went down. This is because there were lots of steps, I wrote this out for the students. Sorry about that. Again, we're back to fuzzy land. So once we discussed the prompts, we did some highlighting and underlining and circling and all that kind of stuff to look at the important parts of the prompt, to talk about the success criteria and what that meant. I used pick strips to choose random partners for them to read the passage together. They answered the questions separately. Then they used that success criteria to evaluate themselves. And then they found an evaluation station, which is where we get the title of this lesson. So here's our one of our evaluation stations. I have 4 set up in different corners of the room. And again, this came right from the NAEP website. So this is question number 1. And we have an example of a 3, and we have an example of a 2. And one of the things I really like about this is it not only has the student work, it has actually 2 student work, but it explains why. And that's where I got my success criteria from, actually, because I wanted the language to kind of match. So here's the first question, and here's the second question. They call the best response extensive. That would be, for me, a 4. Then they have essential and partial and unsatisfactory. And again, they have at least 1 or sometimes 2 examples, and then a description of why it is the way it is. So they came over here to the evaluation station, which is my example most like, and did an evaluation that way, and then a peer review. So we have an evaluation station right there. I like to give kids options of whether they sit down or stand up during these stations. I don't always put them on the wall. We have one here inside the project room. Evaluation station. We have another one here against the window. And here's our fourth evaluation station. And a lot of people might say, well, why do you have only 4 of them? Doesn't that kind of create a bunch of people going to one? Well, I wanted to be able to sort of monitor this part of the process, and I didn't want 6 or 8 different stations to go to. I wanted to just split myself among 4. And of course, I always told the kids, if there's 4 to 6 kids already at an evaluation station, you need to find a different one. I have 22 students, so about 5 or 6 is about the right amount for an evaluation station. So I hope you have gotten some good ideas on how you could create something similar for your students, and getting them to evaluate their own work. Thanks a lot, TTFN. Ta-ta for now.